I think it's fair to say that all leaders are struggling right now with the world. And as leaders, how do you get around that? How do you get around that the world is literally a dumpster fire? There's just, let me just say the thing. It's a dumpster fire. There's no way to get around that unless you are in a bubble and you're refusing to deal with the world around you.
Yeah, I think I just saw Brene Brown the other day being interviewed and saying, your employees are dysregulated.
Yeah.
Your leaders are dysregulated. And if
You're dysregulated.
if you're not conscious of that,
right now,
you're not paying attention.
yes.
And I think we have organizations, rightly so, that are wanting their work environments to be a place of belonging, to be a place maybe of even respite from what's going on in the outside world.
Yes.
And, I think that's fair. I think that's not a bad thing to hope for. And yet, I think what you and I have found is that organizations at times and leaders have made a misstep by not acknowledging with some genuine empathy what is going on in the world. An example, for instance, understandably so, there's a lot of political tension with immigration, with ICE, with customs enforcement, and companies feeling uncertain, not wanting to dip into those waters, not wanting to, make reference in a way that might politically offend some of their staff, some of their customers. And yet at the same time, not having any sense, any empathetic response, any check-in with employees that may have direct intersection, direct impact, can feel dehumanizing and disrespectful for staff.
Amen. And that was just something we dealt with, or we've been dealing with the last couple of months in our business. Staff, and since you brought up immigration and from certain backgrounds, from certain ethnic and racial backgrounds, have said, hey, you know what? This is affecting me. Mm-hmm. This is affecting my family or my community or my church or my folks that are my aunties and uncles. And it's disrupting the whole family. It is heartbreaking to the whole family. And someone just came and spoke to me about this last week, and they were saying that coworkers were making comments about, well, we would serve them. They were healthcare. We'd serve them. But in this case, ICE would come get them anyways and can come in and now they'll blow past those doors and come grab people if they want to. And it wasn't whether the statement was truth or fact. It was the fact that they said this to somebody who was part in the Hispanic community, who was first generation, who was dealing with seeing people leaving that have been part of their family. That's their family. That's their loved ones. Mm-hmm. That's part of their staples in their community. And the fact that coworkers had no empathy in the way that they said it.
Yeah, and that's the piece, I think, that, oftentimes, because companies or leaders don't know what to say, they remain silent, or they don't help equip team members, even in that example, to be able to show empathy, to be able to show care and concern, even if there is a difference of opinion. Even if there is a different background or a different political perspective or a different faith perspective, but being able to acknowledge the impact and express care and concern for different lived experiences. And I think we're finding more and more that the companies that are able to express that concern, to see the individual without, if your organization doesn't feel comfortable making specific statements, and understandably so, it's complicated often on what statement you would make. But more importantly, are your leaders expressing that
Checking in.
respect,
Yeah.
that empathy
Yeah.
to check in. I know you led in organizations during, 2020, during, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and in predominantly white environments.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, white leaders didn't know how should they support, what should they do to be supportive to communities of color that were impacted in a different way.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because that was a forever changing experience, leading that DEI in organizations during Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, um,
George Floyd.
George Floyd, and folks, certain folks, let's just call it what it is, certain white leaders going, I don't want to say anything because I don't know what to say, and can we just work?
Yeah.
And then on the other side, having Black folk call me crying, dysregulated. People call me from bathrooms, cars. I can't go in today because my team is acting like nothing's happening. When they literally had a fear for their life.
Yeah.
In their minds, whether you see that or not, or worried about their homes or their brothers or sisters, whoever. And what stuck out to me was the lack of courage. It's not, again, the lack of courage and the lack of empathy some people have. It's not, again, I don't care if you agree with me about everything, and I don't need to agree with you about everything. And there's certain things that we don't even agree upon. We don't agree about, right? But it is about is my empathy more important than my opinion? Can I be empathetic enough to show some courage?
And what for a leader, April, if a leader were, on one hand resonating with what you're saying, but maybe they're thinking, oh, I'm not a touchy-feely. What would empathy look like for that leader who's like, I'm empathetic with my kids, but what's
with my wife, I have to be.
Yeah, my wife, she makes me.
I've heard it. I've learned after 30, and I get it, right?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like? It simply looks like, at times, asking a question. How are you doing today? Are you feeling any impacts of what's happening outside? It's asking some simple questions that make the world of difference, that you care, that you see me, that you do see my whole self.
How can I be supportive?
Yeah, how can I be supportive right now? Is there anything you need? And I remember working with a CEO during this time, big organization. And I remember having a discussion with him and saying, some folks are truly dysregulated. They're scared. They had mental health days. I said, can you just say they can take a mental health day? Like, this would be a good opportunity. In other words, folks were scared. Black folks were like, I don't want to be seen weak. I don't want to be seen as being performance managed for this because you're not being a good team player right now, or you're opting out while we're working hard, because mind you, it's COVID, right? So everyone's also this instability. And when I said to this CEO, he said, don't they know they can take a mental health day? I said, no, they don't know that. They don't know they can take one. They're scared because your leaders are not showing across the board empathy that this is hard, that they're having a different experience than other people in the organization. And so I know I was proud. The next day he sent out a message, take mental health day. If you need one, for everyone who this is impacting. Which wasn't only impacting folks that looked like me. There were people that were being impacted as well that didn't look like me, that looked like you. Folks that were strong allies, right?
Yeah, and I think that piece, and if there are leaders that don't have an April in the organization, I think a key piece is asking that question. If you don't know what to do, but you have a sense that your employees are being impacted, reach out. Humble yourself enough to ask, what is it that they may need? You're not going to have all the answers, but your staff will help you.
How can we support you? And just that's the sincerity in that. How can we support you?
Mm-hmm.
How are you being impacted right now? Is there anything we can do? And I don't think you can lead without empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of the conversation right now in this world is toxic empathy and what's too much empathy, and and just put your head down and let's try to go back to the old ways. And I dare say people aren't robots. People
No.
aren't machines. This is the one commodity we have that is so that's so valuable, and that you still have to engage and say, what do you need right now? How are you doing?
Yeah.
That's something that we're seeing. And so we just encourage leaders, just ask those questions, as you said. Just make space. You don't have the answers. Don't promise anything you can't do either. No one's asking you that. That's another worry that we've heard a lot. Leaders say, well, I can't change anything. I can't do anything. And you're like, no one said you can be present.
Mm-hmm.
Being present is one of the biggest presents you can give someone. Just being present and for that moment. All right. So, yeah. The world is a dumpster fire.